Good afternoon. A large number of non-attentive, negligent and nuisance students which are in the class of standard 9 and 10 is a persistent misery of the science teachers in the secondary schools. A questionnaire is given to these students of class 9 which revealed that at the beginning of the academic year, which revealed that the roots of the problem remain in the vacation batches of these classes. Overconfidence is generated due to the textual content verbatim, and due to that the textual content verbatim and the typical exam type test which was conducted in the classes leads to the overconfidence and non-interest of the school science or school classrooms. In making the school science, which is different from the coaching classes, learning science by doing and 5E model which proves a key. It helped greatly in making the students realize that they know the textbook content verbatim without understanding the real science. A class of standard 9th with 60 students which was selected for this study, and these 60 students were given a pre-science aptitude test to check their attitude, science attitude, fear, participation in different activities. On the basis of their performance in the standard 9, in the annual exam of standard 9, the 60 students were divided into two equivalent groups, that is experimental group and control group. A pre-test was given to these students which was related with the concept density, which was given to both the groups. An action plan which was providing the opportunities for the students, that is active participation and knowledge construction, performing activities, learning by doing, skill development, instrument handling and decision making, and creativity, innovativeness. The experimental group of 30 students were actively involved in this experiment, in doing experiments relevant with the concept density. And the control group of 30 students, they learned the concept density by old method, that is traditional teaching method, that is chalk and talk method. For convenience of performing activities, experiments, 6 groups or 6 teams of 5 students each were made in the experimental group. Their reactions, opinions, observations which were noted and studied. According to 5E model, a number of activities aimed at providing the opportunities for the students' own thinking, decision making and participation in different activities. For that, some experiments were done by the students, given a brinjal, a potato, brinjal, a spring balance, measuring cylinder, different polythene bags to the students, and they performed the experiments to calculate the density of that brinjal and potato. Some of the teams in the experimental group, they performed the activities or the experiments to find the density of the irregular object of their choice. While performing the experiments, they observed that a brinjal and orange did not sink in water. They saw it did not sink in water, hence they decided to change the liquid which is provided in the measuring cylinder, in an overflow vessel. By changing the object which sink in liquid and by changing the liquid in which object sink, they do various experiments. The number of teams exhibited the positive desired behaviors which are given here. I noted some important observations and findings. By traditional teaching method, only 10% of the students could understand or they understood the concept density, but which is studied by the traditional method. They studied that by traditional method, but due to the support of the experiments, 95% of the students in the experimental group, they understood the concept density. 99% of the students in the experimental group, they acquired the skill to handle the apparatus. They noted their observations accurately and finally they record their observations, and they got the knowledge to maintain their records. Confidence of the students was reflected through their activities. Some of the striking examples of the team observations are worth noticing. One team in the experimental group, they made the tricolor. By using different liquids of different densities which are immiscible. The different teams in the experimental group, they prepared differently shaped objects having different volume but same mass. Then interesting tricks were done by these students in compensating their mass to achieve equal mass of different volumes. Performance of these students were analyzed for the relevant by giving them the relevant question in the post test. Several outcomes and impacts were observed. First is that the students in the experimental group, they scored good marks in the science school test. They participated in different science activities such as science exhibition, science elocution, science examinations, etc. And by comparing the control group students and experimental group students, the mean score for the experimental and control group student, which is nearly equivalent or same for both the groups, mean score is same for both the groups, but for the pre-test, but for the post-test, it was 1.3 for the control group students, and for the post-test in the experimental group, it is observed it is about 9.5. The standard deviation value, which is much greater for the students in the experimental group than in the control group. The gain score, which diverges more for the experimental group than the control group, and the t value, which is much larger by the data analysis than which is observed for 0.01 level in the observation table. Finally, the meaningful science learning, that is learning by doing, and 5E model, which leads to the academic, individual and social development of the students. Thank you.